3, 2, 1, and we are live. Back with the Click to Close podcast. My name is Travis Halverson, joined by the infamous
Other Travis,
as I would say, the better looking Travis, more fit Travis. How you been?
I've been good. I've been real good.
You look really good. I see the Slack channel every day, and you just keep selling counties,
Selling counties,
selling easy,
feeling good, hammering out workouts,
slinging ease.
Funny, man. Like twice this week, I had sales calls with people. You guys were out at the ranch last weekend?
Yeah.
And people, I guess, like scheduled the call. They see the name Travis, and like they think they're getting on a call with you. And they're disappointed when I show up. They're like, "Oh yeah, we met Travis Halverson at the ranch this past weekend. We thought this call was with him."
Oh my gosh.
And we start talking, and obviously they want to know about Easy Home Search, and people, they make that correlation. But I think it's pretty neat, the impact. And I think that's a compliment to you, the impact you and both Nikki are having on people's businesses. And when you guys talk at things like the ranch, people are excited to talk to you guys because you're having such a positive impact on real estate.
Well, I appreciate that, but I will laugh because like when I was at the ranch and I'd be wearing like an Easy Home Search shirt, I'm just like, yeah, we got to get back on a call again. And I'm just like, I've never met with you before, so this is crazy. They're like, oh, Travis. And I'm like, do they just not remember what I'm like? Do they think I'm you? Like Zoom just looks different. I'm like, I don't know, but yeah. It was pretty funny.
Probably once a week that'll happen to me, or someone gets on a call thinking they're getting on a call with like you're gonna be there, and it's like, sorry, just point you.
Sorry to disappoint you. Yeah. No, that's actually good, but it's good. I mean, I'm glad that like I keep seeing that Slack channel. You know what I mean? Like we have a Slack channel for all the different stuff that we do, but it's always fun to watch that one where we put like, oh, we sold this place and this place and this way, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's just going.
Yeah, it's neat, man. I love, especially as we grow as a company and you see us, sell a county that's new to our platform, right? And now all of a sudden Easy Home Search is in random place across America that we weren't in last week, generating leads. And it's been cool, man. I know we talked about the last time I was here. I've been selling in some sort of sales like my entire adult life. And to me, this is like my third. It's almost like a different industry, right? I get it's real estate still, but it's like a different type of industry. Yeah. And I'm still learning and I'm still growing and it's just been really fun to sell in this capacity, and to get to, really help teams and agents grow in this capacity, like giving them the stuff or selling them the stuff they need.
Yeah, of course. No, yeah. And it's true. And I think that's always interesting because like you'll see like people will come into like our trainings or come into like our like just any sort of like event or anything that we do, and you see them like at level 1, you know what I mean? And then you see them like months later and they're like, oh, we have like 30 closed pending. I'm just like, yo, I love that. Yep. You know what I mean? Like see the improvement. But what are we talking about today?
I have been putting a lot of thought around, especially as we continue to grow as a team on the Easy side. You continue to grow in Digital Maverick and adding ISAs. And then obviously just talking to teams about agent success. Yeah. Like, I think it's a relevant conversation of like what makes a good salesperson, a good agent, a good ISA. Like what are some of the attributes? And like I've been putting a lot of thought around that as we like grow our team is kind of the place I come from.
Yeah. No, I mean, even for like me, and I always think about this, and this is what's always interesting because like I came from phone, like I came from call centers, you know what I mean? I came from call centers where I would like just always be on the phone. Yeah. But I started out in technical support. So I'd like be answering phone calls and people would always be pissed that their direct TV was just broken or like, we have a 771 searching for satellite signal. I'm like, well, yeah, there's a storm in your neighborhood. And like, yeah, there's cloud coverage. Like, of course, it's a satellite dish. Like, it's in space. Like, of course, you can't get TV signal. And they're just like, and they'll just be so mad. So then I was like, I wanted to switch what I was doing. So then I got into like the sales side of it and started doing the sales side, training people to do phone calls, but like selling direct TV. And that was much more fun. Like, I enjoyed that a lot. But it was like I started at nothing. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I just treated everybody the exact same. Like I just want to get to know them. Yeah. Like I get on the phone, I want to get to know them. It's like Nikki's call that she did yesterday at Shut Up and Dial. She talked to that lady for 20 minutes. 100%. I was laughing so hard when you were on the call. You like said something great and everything was good, and all of a sudden you just left. We're just like Nikki's like, I'm like, where did he just go?
I actually had a sales call. I had to get on.
He had a sales call. And she goes. Me and Nikki were like, she just Irish goodbye so hard, like didn't even say bye, just left. And I was like, oh, he just slacked me and said he had as a sales call. He's getting ready for it. I was laughing so hard. But no, I mean, I started at nothing. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I just realized I wanted to talk to people. You know what I mean? That's what it came down to.
Yeah. And I think that's important. I think, and you and Nikki do a great job at teaching like Nikki does it from a perspective of agent development, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I literally get on account review calls and talk to team leaders. Sometimes I'll have their agents on those account review calls where Nikki has like impacted these people's lives. Like she's helped them overcome that fear of getting on the phone and knowing what to say.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You know, and I think that's where it's like, man, you guys almost don't get enough credit in how you're in, like literally you're helping people live better.
Oh, yeah.
Doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you guys like realize that much the weight of it, but you know, like it is that heavy.
Well, let me read something because this will be my next Facebook post. But like, it's funny because like I think it was 2 days ago, I had a girl from we used to coach her and train her. Like she was an ISA, like for a Texas team back in the day, right? Like I was meeting with her in 2023, and then she sends me a picture of like these ribbons that it says, and it's like on the ribbons it basically says like for agent name February 2025 for 1 million in closed sales, and then the next one it says March 2025. We're reaching 1 million in closed sales. April 2025, 1 million in closed sales. May, 1 million in closed sales. June, 1 million in closed sales. And she goes, friend, I hope you're well. I wanted to update you that I still use what you and Nikki taught me in my business every day on the phones and in person. I'm my team's top producing agent this year. And I was just like, what?
That's amazing.
I said, hold on. I said, she was an ISA. And like she realized though that she was like, my agents are lazy. I was just going to become an agent. Right. And I love that. And you know what I mean? Like, I think that's super fun, but it's like, it's great to see, but she was afraid of the phones.
Yeah.
Like she was
that's a real thing.
She was very like, not like, she didn't like being an ISA. Like I could tell, I don't think she enjoyed being on the phones. And I think she was just afraid of like certain objections that she would get. Like she was just starting out and I'm like, yo, you can do this. Like be confident in yourself. Yeah. But seeing that type of stuff is crazy.
Yeah, and the fear of the phone, that is awesome. The fear of the phones is a real thing. And that's something I like think about a lot as well. It's like why do some people get over that quicker? Why are some people not afraid of the phones and they still don't have success?
Yeah.
Right? And there's some people that they're afraid of the phones and that's why they're not successful. And I think it comes down to, here's my observation, having worked in sales and seen it across different industries. I think it all comes down to empathy.
Yep.
And you hear about it so much, like empathy, but I think when people are afraid of the phones, it's because they're over empathetic, like too much empathy.
Yep.
And they're afraid to interrupt somebody.
Yeah.
Right. Like, hey, I don't want to call this. They're projecting and they're like filling in the blank of like, hey, I'm interrupting that person. And I think that's like, it's not a fear of the phone. They're just afraid of interrupting people.
For sure.
And kind of what I was saying yesterday to Nikki is like, you got to interrupt people sometimes to help them. It's okay to interrupt somebody if you're relevant. Yeah. Right. Like, and I think the other side of that scale is the person I like to call like commission breath, or like if you have no empathy, like you're a I hate to use that term, but sociopath, right? Like you have to have some empathy.
No, yeah, for sure.
I think the perfect salesperson, and that's where like I would start if I was like trying to fill a role or find, you know, the agent or the ISA, is like you need that person that is not too empathetic, and you need that person who's not a sociopath, and I'll use a different term, like they don't have commission breath. Right? Like they can show some empathy. You need
still a great term. You can use it. I don't think it's not derogatory.
I am not a psychologist.
Oh yeah. Look, I can't clinically diagnose this person as a sociopath. However, if there was a way to diagnose you, you're the closest person to a sociopath.
But I said I've seen both ends of it, right? I've seen the guy or gal who gets on the phone and they're not scared to make calls and they're not scared to ask for the sale or ask for the appointment, but it's like too much,
dude.
Right?
Yeah, man. And honestly, that was my biggest thing. Like when I started as an ISA, like at very early on, I would like get off a call and be like, damn, I didn't set an appointment. Do another one. Like, damn, I didn't set an appointment every single time. And I was like, felt like I was a failure. But then I realized like, honestly, when I would set appointments, I'm like, yo, I love this feeling. I don't know if it sounds bad to say this, but it was like an addiction feeling of setting appointments. Like it was like a fun thing. Sure. You'd be super excited. Like, yo, that's it.
It's like a dopamine hit.
I know it's a dopamine hit. Dude, that's really what it was. But it was funny because like as time like went on, like I knew some days I'd get 0 appointments, right? Yeah. Some days, 2 days in a row, sometimes I get 0 appointments. But then like the next day or 2 days later, I get like 4 or 5. I'm like, yo, that's it. That's what, you know what I mean? I just made up for those last 2 bad days. But what I'm trying to say is like when I was doing that as like an ISA, and it was interesting because like people would always like bring it back. Like nobody had like a long-term vision of it. I like realized like, I actually love this so much. I'll probably do this forever.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to be an ISA forever. So if I get off this call and someone tells me no, that's okay. I'll talk to them in 5 years from now. You know what I mean? Like I might get them to buy their 5th house. You know what I mean? Like I just always had that long-term mindset of like, I'm going to be in this position 5 years from now. So it's like, if this person tells me no today, a year from now, they might tell me yes, or 2 years from now, they might tell me yes.
But it's funny you say that. Like, I actually appreciate a no. It's weird. I'm in a weird place in my like sales career where it's like, oh, that does, like, I appreciate that they said no, or not right now, or whatever. And that's the other problem, I think, when people are too empathetic, is when they get no response, right? Like, okay, I had a great conversation with a person, or I met with a person, and then I reached out to them 2 weeks later, like I said I would, and they didn't respond.
Yep.
And then I do it again and they didn't respond. And I feel like what happens as salespeople, where I see like a huge gap, is they start filling in that blank of, oh, they didn't respond, that's a no. And what happens? They stop reaching out.
Yeah.
Huge. And I think that's a huge mistake. And I've learned that in my own career, both in real estate and doing what I'm doing now. Like, the no response is not a no. I'm filling in that blank, right? I'm being too empathetic. I'm projecting like, oh, that's a no.
Yep.
That's not a no. That's just like the timing wasn't right.
Yep.
Or my messaging wasn't relevant.
Yep.
So I either need to like change my message, right? That's something that's, I'm going to interrupt them with a relevant message, or I'm going to keep trying until I get a no, because the no response is just maybe not, right now is not a good time.
Yep.
Like you can't, and I think that's where salespeople make the huge mistake of the no response being a no. And I've had it happen in my real estate career where, you know, I've reached out once a month with somebody over their, you know, property value, you know, keeping them up to date, leaving them a voicemail, shooting them a text, send them an email. And then 9 months down the road, they reply, hey, I appreciate you keeping me up to date. We're ready to do X, Y, and Z. Yep. Had I taken a no response as a no, they would have listed with somebody else, right? And the same thing happens in what I do now. I'm reaching out to, you know, high level team leaders, broker owners, even, you know, agents doing a bunch of business. And I'm interrupting them, and I have to be like relevant in my messaging. You know, that's all I know. Like, I'm going to interrupt them. I'm okay with interrupting them, but I have to be relevant in what I say to them.
Exactly. No, and that makes sense. And that kind of is the same way with, like, you know what I mean? Like, when we're calling, like, making dials as ISAs, it's like you're interrupting someone's day. You're interrupting someone like doing something that has no recollection of them even registering in the database or anything. Like, what are you calling me about? You have to basically start a friendship from nothing and basically win that person's business over with like the most expensive thing they'll ever purchase in their life. It's just like, that's so hard that people like don't realize. And that's why I always laugh, because I'm just like, yo, the ISA position is not a glorious position by any means. Like, it's not glamorous. It's not necessarily fun. To me, it's easy. To other people, it's not, but it's hard for people because it's repetitive. It's the same thing over and over again. But like, the more consistent you are, the more results you'll end up receiving. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people just don't get that. And I think to me, it makes me laugh. But sometimes it's like, I have to be empathetic to the fact that it's like, oh, you've just never done this position before. Right. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like, so like for me, if I'm filling a sales role, that, you know, I in an interview process, whatever, I'm trying to like gauge that empathy, that empathy scale. Cause I think that's almost something you can't teach, right? Like, people feel it, right? And then the next thing for me is probably, you know, what makes a successful salesperson. I think is also like extremely overlooked in our industry. Maybe not the ISA world, but I think in real estate, it's overlooked quite a bit, is the consistency.
Yep.
You know, like, what's your schedule look like? You know, and I think for a salesperson, you have to be uber consistent. Like, everything I do is calendar based. I keep looking at my watch because I have an appointment, right? Everything throughout my day is appointment based.
Yep.
You know, and I wasn't always like that in my career, but the more I got like that, you know, the more successful I was, and the more I enjoy my life outside of work as well. Sure. And I think a lot of agents, like, I wake up the same time every day. It's like Groundhog Day. You know what I mean? Like, every day. And I like, you know, and I talked about the last time I was here, like, the first like 3 hours of my day, super predictable.
Oh yeah.
Personally. But then it sets the foundation of, okay, I know what the rest of my day is going to look like. And I think for a salesperson, you got to like carve out, like, when are you going to prospect? When are you going to take appointments? Right. Like, and I still come from that space.
Yeah.
You know? So I think, you know, you mentioned, you know, ISAs just following a process and being consistent. I think that's huge. And I think it's like very much overlooked.
Yeah. No. And yeah, it's always like, as time goes on with the ISAs and stuff, and you see them get better and better, and like, you have to keep them like still somewhat motivated. You know what I mean? Like, being motivated in an ISA, or like just even in a sales position in general, where you're like self-sufficient, like you have to motivate yourself.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's like, that was the one thing for me that was always tough, was like, I had a low base salary, but like also like higher commission. You know what I mean? Like 5% of the 3% or 10% of the
what's pricing called? Eat what you kill.
Yeah. Eat what you kill. Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. And that was why it was like, all right, this is perfect. Like, people a lot of the times when an ISA gets in that position, they look at their salary and like, that's what it is. You know what I mean? Like there's like, they just show up every day for a salary. I'm like, so whenever people ask me, like, what do I give an ISA? I'm like, a low base salary, something that they can't really like live off of, or like enough that gets them to the office.
Right.
Because like as time goes on, like you don't want them just showing up in the same la-di-da mindset and like not trying to go out and find and prospect and do all that stuff because it won't be motivated. Like it won't motivate them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's the same thing with you. It's like you just want to go out and find more business, like to keep growing this thing. It's like that's motivation. Like and that, yeah. And it's tough because like ISA position is technically like the stepping stone into real estate is what they always say.
Yeah, I can see that. Like the retention rate, like if you hire someone like US based, the retention rate is hard to maintain because you lose a lot of the good folks to which
I mean it's fine. I mean like the girl that just texted me is like,
she's
hey,
crushing
yeah, she's crushing it. She became a top producing agent on her team. She was an ISA. It probably hurt the other agents on the team.
Sure.
When she became a top producing agent on her team, but like great on her. Like, you know what I mean? She took the jump.
Look at the foundation like she built for herself.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think like when I came into real estate, I came from another sales industry into real estate. That's why I like had so much success because I had like a sales background.
Yeah.
Like I was used to making calls. I was used to negotiating deals. And I think a lot of agents come into real estate and they don't really have a sales background. They're like, hey, I love people and I love houses, which is great. But you got to like know how to make calls. You got to like, I think a lot of salespeople don't realize like you're constantly negotiating, right? Just getting a buyer's agency agreement signed, you're negotiating like what you're going to make with your potential client.
Yep.
Just getting a listing agreement signed. I'm talking, you haven't even sold the house yet.
Yep.
You're negotiating a lot of different things with a potential seller.
Yep.
And then beyond all of that, now you just had to negotiate for yourself. Now you're turning around and you're representing this person. Now you have to negotiate for them. So there's a lot of negotiation skills that go in that you just learn from the process. You learn from being salespeople. You learn obviously from having great mentors within your brokerage and things like that. But I think people who do that foundational stuff, like be an ISA before they're a realtor or come from another sales industry, they tend to have a leg up because other industries, they put more emphasis around consistency, prospecting, you know what I mean? And the sales aspect of it. I feel like in real estate, sometimes we're afraid to like call ourselves salespeople.
Yeah.
And I
it's don't like, they don't want to say it. People just don't like say it. I don't know why.
There's a difference between being a salesperson and being salesy.
Yeah.
Right. At the end of the day, like you have to have sales skills, right?
So what do you think are key attributes that you need in order to be like a single salesperson, like whether it's an ISA or like what you're doing, like, cause like you're in your office by yourself all day long. You have to literally go out and like, as you said, eat what you kill.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you feel like key attributes would be for someone that has to be like an inside sales agent?
I'm going to go in order. Like some of them we touched on. I think it's regulating your empathy, right? You got to like be in the middle on that scale, right? Like I always come from the mindset of like, I need to make, 5 friends today or 10 friends today, meaning like getting a good conversation. That's using empathy, like get in the foxhole with them, understanding their business, but then also asking for the sale, right?
Yep.
I think the second thing is being consistent, like having a schedule that you follow every single day. If you're chaotic, your results will be chaotic.
Yep.
Right? Like vague commitments lead to vague results. I'm committed to my calendar every day. Like I am. It leads to those results.
Yep.
And I think the third thing is like skills.
Yeah.
Like always being learning based. I was thinking about this. I was on a run this morning. I was thinking about this conversation. And it's like, one of the things I love about working for Preston.
What?
It's going to sound backwards, but
it usually is when it's Preston.
No, but this is why I love Preston. People love Preston.
Yeah.
I love Preston. Preston doesn't reward you for just showing up and working hard.
Oh yeah.
That you're not rewarded for that at Easy Home Search or any of his companies. To me, that's the bare minimum.
Oh yeah, for real, dude.
You know what I mean?
I kid you
like
not.
That's the bare minimum expectation. And I don't mean that negatively. That's like the culture of our company.
Oh, everybody 100%.
Everybody shows up and works hard.
If your calendar is not booked, like you are not living. Like you're not there.
And it's not a negative thing.
I know.
It's because, Preston has built a culture within his company that like, hey, that's the bare minimum standard. What he rewards is being learning based, being open-minded, always sharpening your skills, treating every partner, customer, and client just like you're Preston, like you're the owner of the company.
Exactly.
That's what gets rewarded and has built this foundation of just showing up and working hard is the bare minimum.
Yep.
Right. And I feel like a lot of times in sales industries, people want to be rewarded for showing up and working hard. That doesn't always equal results.
Yep.
Right. It's the other stuff that equals results.
No, and it's so true though. And that's like, it's funny that you say it like that. And it's like, I feel like what I did as an ISA for like the last like 7-8 years, like kind of helped me just be able to fit in with Preston and all of you guys and like the company they built, because like everybody had always asked me like, well, ISA is like, we don't have any ISA that covers the weekend. I'm like, that's crazy. All I did was cover the weekend. I was like, I'm so confused.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're like, well, what do you do on weekends? I'm like, answer the phones. Like, what do you mean? They're like, well, our ISA doesn't do that. I'm like, that's okay. I was paid off of a closing.
Yeah.
And if someone's going to call on the weekend, I'm answering the phone. If I'm at dinner, I will step out and take that call. I knew what it took to do that sort of thing. So it was like, I always needed to be working. I always needed to be on schedule. Like always needed to be on call. And it was like coming over here, it's like, it's the exact same mindset, exact same thing. It was just like, now I just get to do it, but at a higher level. You know what I mean? It like just allowed me just to fit in better here. And it was like, that for me was rewarding, because before it was like just for working for one team, making calls for one team. Now it's like, I got to help hundreds of teams just grow. Yeah, exactly. It was like I have helped hundreds of teams just grow their full business and like see it explode, which is super fun and super fun for me to watch.
That's funny you say that, because I have the same experience. I talk to, in any given day, I can talk to an agent in Florida, a team leader in California, or, a team in somewhere in Texas, right? Like all over the map.
Yep. And
again, like the initial beginning of any call I have, I'm in the foxhole, right? Yep. I want to hear about their business. I want to we're a tech company founded and ran by real estate people, right? Yep. That's what makes us different. So like we've been agents, we've been team leaders. So like I get in foxhole, I hear about their business, and a question I get a lot, especially from like the smaller team or the agents that have like a limited budget, right? They're signing up for a Team Connect plan. They're like, hey, should I do buyer leads or should I do seller leads? And it's a question I get a lot. Like they want like, hey, I'm not sure which direction to go, because they can choose, right?
Yeah,
they can choose where they invest their budget. And
that's crazy. I didn't know that. So I'm glad you told me that.
Yeah,
it's so funny. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's awesome. I'm like, no, I don't actually know that. It's so great.
What's interesting about that question to me is over and over again, especially I get the market starting to change as rates come down, but a lot of feedback I get from solo agents or smaller teams is like, hey, I have a bunch of listing inventory right now. I need buyer leads. Like buyers are super valuable to me. Right. And I hear that type of feedback and I'm able to share it with a solo agent. And they're like, yeah, I'm experiencing the same thing. That makes sense. A buyer lead for me is more valuable versus a seller lead. That's where I want to invest my budget. That type of just sharing of information and, just hearing the different perspectives of different teams across the country, I think is, it's the coolest part of what we get to do every day.
Dude, absolutely. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like the relationships we get to build. Like even like that was like when we went out to John's Ranch last weekend. It was like fun because like you see people that like you've seen like through like Facebook before, like big names that you've like heard of, and then you like get to see them in person, like actually like interact with them. You're like, this is probably why you're the greatest person over in your market, because you are a genuine human. Like you're a good person, and it's like it's fun to see that stuff, and it's like. Wow, I used to like in real estate, like when I started adding people when I first moved here, it's like then I start seeing all these people in different areas, like becoming friends with Preston on Facebook, and then like seeing him post all these people. So like who you may know starts growing like massively. It's just like, who are all these faces? But then you like start meeting them, and then like you realize you're in Zoom calls with them like every week, and then it's like every other week it's like a different person, and it's like wow, I never thought I'd be here. You know what I mean? Like, and that's where it's like I get to understand their business and see that stuff, and it's like I didn't know anything about running a business, and I will never say I still do. I still don't. You know what I mean? I still have to ask Preston. I'm like, yo, I don't know. Like, why can't we spend that? If he's like, Travis, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
But it's like hearing people how they run their business and stuff, and like seeing these teams that are like 39% from last year growth, like 42% over last year growth. And I'm like, wow, we had an impact on that. I sometimes like give myself like imposter syndrome where I'm like, we didn't like that. Good job. That's all you guys did the greatest thing. And it's like, Travis, like that. And Antoine made me feel that. He's like, dude, you got us into follow, boss. Like none of this would have happened if you didn't set up FUB. Like you didn't, you know what I mean? He was like giving like credit. He's like, dude, don't say that. Like you had a massive impact. He's like, you doing all these teams. So that's why it's like posting on Facebook now. I'm just like our clients, you know what I mean? I can say that and like feel confident about saying that sometimes.
That's interesting. We could probably do a whole episode on imposter syndrome, because I think it is a real thing.
What time is it? Can we do an episode on that?
We could.
All right, we'll do this. We're going to end this episode here where we talked about being an ISA and salesperson. Follow us next time for our next episode where we talk about imposter syndrome, potentially sociopaths, but that'll be a whole different episode. Catch you guys later.
Thank you.